Oh, jeez. This has gotten a little bit cluttered. It's actually because of what I'm here to talk to you about today. I want to introduce a project I've been working on for a little while. It's actually why I haven't really been putting any videos out. Well, I've been really busy. So I am going to make good on one of the promises in the I don't know, description of the channel or whatever. And it's something I've been wanting to do for a little while now, and finally got around to it, and that is to build a go-kart, essentially from scratch. I think that it's a really nice engineering challenge. Well, not really. I mean, it's just, you know, I'm cobbling something together, and you're definitely gonna get to see that. Now, I've already built it, and I've been writing it, and it's amazing, and I just wanted to get everything done before I started actually organizing the videos. But since I actually ended up with a lot more video than I thought I would, this is going to be more of a series, I guess. I'm going to do maybe try and organize it somewhat so I have one piece per video or something. I don't know, but I'm going to organize it some way and make it a little bit more watchable, because I have about 600 gigabytes worth of video now. Because I thought this was going to be a weekend project, and it turned into a 4-week project. So, but anyway, what I'm going to be working on in this first video is just the frame. I'm going to kind of show what I did for the frame and how I cobbled it together and how absolutely awful it looks. And then I don't know. We'll figure it out. I don't know if I'm going to make an intro for every one of these videos. There's just going to be quite a few with how much video I have, but we'll see. And also I have to kind of intersperse it with having a bunch of fun riding the go-kart. So, but just to give you guys, I guess, a little sneak preview. This was taken yesterday, and it was very scary riding on such a cobbled together piece of shit and actually hitting this speed. Let's get started. So here are the wheels. These are not go-kart wheels. They are random cheap wheels I found on Amazon, and these are the hubs that we'll be replacing that came on them. That's actually why I bought these, is that they already had hubs that were going to be removable. They're just bolted on there, so it shouldn't be too hard to make new hubs for these. And it looks like we can get a 1-inch shaft through the center there. If not, I can bore this out a little bit. About like that. That feels about right. Alright. Next major component here. This is not really modified yet. I have messed around with the fuel, not the fuel, the throttle on it a bit. But I thought I'd go with it mostly bone stock for the first couple of rides before I start tearing into it and doing stupid shit with it. So, but we will be shaving the head on this down, among other things. So basically just going to mod it till it explodes. So this will be on the back, and to make things easier, it's going to be, so I'm going to mount it in front of the rear wheels. And the reason I'm mounting this in front of the rear wheels, well, is I don't want it to wheelie all the time. I want to be able to actually drive this thing. So I've got enough chain that I don't think it'll really matter exactly how far it is from the axle, but I think I want to kind of put it almost on top of the axle, just to save room. So we'll put it like that. Then that puts the exhaust side on the other side. Okay, perfect. So that has some tie rods that we'll have to account for as well. But I think the way that I want to do the steering, these will be, well, That should be fine. I was hoping at some point to build something with an outboard suspension. Not this one. This one's first ever go-kart, so it's got to be something stupid simple. Emphasis on stupid. Alright, so this is 1-inch cold rolled. This is what I was planning on using for the axle. And I'm an idiot because I was planning on having a 1-inch axle, and I bought 1-inch cold rolled, so I can't turn it down at all because it's already at size, or well, close to size. So I think since it's cold rolled, I don't think it'll be as big of a deal, but most of the machining that'll happen on this will just be cutting keyways. I think that on like the ones you can buy online, you can find these, they have like a keyway all the way down it, and then threads hit both ends. And I'll probably try to get the threads on both ends, but the keyway, I don't think you need it all the way down the thing. You only need it in the spots where you actually need it, which is, well, for this one it's going to be the sprocket. And then also, I did invest in another thing over here. Let me see if I can find it. While I'm getting parts out, there's a sprocket. Let's make a hub for that too. Alright, I'm not exactly certain where the other part is. Those are pillow blocks for the axle. This is the clutch. So put that there too. This is part of what I was just talking about, which is this is a master cylinder. So I did go ahead and decide on hydraulic brakes. So we have this, and then we have the we have a caliper in the rear. I'm 90% certain I bought a caliper. I'm pretty sure it's around here somewhere. I couldn't find it, but I'll find it soon enough. But what we will have to make is a rotor. I didn't buy a rotor. Calipers, I figured, would be a little bit more difficult to make, but I did want to try my hand making some of this stuff like rotors. So I figured, rotors really not much more than a disc of cast iron. Which I don't have any cast iron, but I don't know. Steel will probably work, right? I mean, what's the worst that can happen? The brakes fail? I've survived worse. Jesus Christ. It's like they never want you to open this damn thing. Alright, so what this is, that I just struggled so hard to fucking open, is steel cable. I apparently got 2. Well, anyway, this is for the throttle. I didn't order pedals. I have to make those. A lot of other little bits and pieces. Essentially, what you see here was me being as cheap as possible. So what we'll be making is the hub for the sprocket and hubs for the wheels, at least 2 of them, and of course the frame and the steering system. Like, I got the rack. I thought about building that, but that was going to be maybe a little bit above my pay grade, so I decided not to. But we need to make the rotor. Of course, we got to machine some shit for the axle. I think that's about it as far as like the parts we're actually going to need to make. I think that I've got most of what I need to, or what I need to make, kind of lined up. So I just have to kind of go through and see exactly what we're going to do. But first, I'd like to go ahead and try and get the frame at least roughed out, so we know kind of what sizing we're working with. So in order to do that, I'm going to need to get my bender out that I bought and have not used yet. And also, I'll need to look into, well, I need to find the fucking caliper. I need to figure out what thickness of rotor I need to make for it. As far as the frame goes, alright, so this is, well, I thought it was bigger than I don't know. When I was first buying this stuff, I hadn't dealt with a lot of, like, metals shit. And I don't know, for some reason I thought inch tubing was larger, but it should hopefully hold. I've got 2 pieces of this length. I think they're both 8 feet. I'm hoping that's enough. I've also got a bunch of random square tube and a bunch of other random just steel. So we can sort of make up for what we're missing. But I think that the main frame we can probably make out of this. I think we have enough. So the base frame, I think I want to make a rectangle, and then the rear axle. I've been debating on exactly how I'm going to mount that, because I have pillow blocks for that, and I think that those are going to mount. I can't decide whether I want to have the frame be bent and go over, or if I want to have the frame flat and put the pillow blocks on top. If it's flat, it gets me lower to the ground, lower center of gravity, but I'm lower to the ground, and that's not as good for maybe, you know, going slightly off-road. So I'm not 100% sure on doing that. If I have to bend over it, then I have more complicated bends that I have to do. Probably, I think what I'm going to do, okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wing it and then figure it out when I get there. So I just realized that my plan might be a little bit too short. So, think, that should be better. So I found a piece of scrap in the bin. It looks like it'll be just the right size to mount the motor to, which I actually need to see if I have bolts that fit this. But anyway, I think this will be perfect. It looks like it's already about the right width, and the motor definitely, yeah, so I've got space on both sides, and center that a little more like that. So, and that's probably 1/2 inch. Yeah. So definitely add some rigidity, a little bit of weight too. This thing will be a little bit back heavy, but that's fine. As long as it's in front of the rear wheels, it'll actually be, it's more towards the center. I like to have that nice, well, close to 50-50 if I can hit it, but I doubt I'll be hitting 50-50 with this thing. But we'll see. All right, I think I've had a little bit of a change in heart. So what I think that I want to do here is, because a lot, you know, basically all karts I see, you know, it starts with essentially a rectangular chassis and I don't know, build from there. But I think what I'd rather do, what I think makes more sense, at least for having the least amount of bending possible, is I think I want to make a center, just a center rail. So like, I actually was originally thinking of 2 rails, so like a ladder frame, and then kind of design off of that. And I might have a piece of tubing. I actually might be able to do 2. Let me see if I have another one like this. All right, so I actually made another decision here. Well, it's basically the same thing, but a little different. So I've got these, and these are about the same length as the big one, I think. Yeah, they're a little bit, well, no, same length. I don't know why, but it seems like all the drops at the place where I get my metal are about this length. But so I want to use these 2, and I think I'm actually going to build a quote-unquote ladder frame, because I sort of kind of understand how they work, kind of, and I think it'll afford me some more stability, or not stability, but strength than my original thought for doing this. And so that's what I'd
I think I'd like to do, but these are just north of 4 feet. So a little short for what I wanted to do. So I was hoping to get close to probably 56, between 56 and 60 inches. So like 4.5, 5. But I think I can work with this. So what I'm going to try and do, I know I'm going to lose some length when I do this, so I need to be careful. And there's a couple of things that I still haven't exactly figured out. I need to do some more layout here. What I want to try and do is actually bend these like a ladder frame. So essentially have a bend that bends it up here and then bend it back to where it's then parallel. And what this allows me to do is take those pillow blocks and mount them directly to the bottom there, and then I can have the rear axle sort of in line with the frame. I think I like that, and it simplifies other things here too. Like I think the front suspension geometry, or well, there's really no suspension, but the front wheel geometry and everything will be a little bit easier to handle with square tubing than it would be with round tubing. Now, I think I'm going to use the round tubing for the actual rungs of the ladder, and so it won't go to waste, but I'll also probably use it for like a bumper or something. I don't know. I'm just kind of making this up as I go. So, but if I don't get started on this now, I'm never going to. So I'm going to try and figure out my bender, and then I don't know, I'll be back sometime after that. Alright, so a little bit of a fuck up, but I think it'll be okay. This is the first one, and I was using the wrong radius for this one, unfortunately, so it got kinked. This one came out fairly nicely though, so that should be 245s. They might be a hair off, but for my purposes, I mean, I'm not building a race car, so hopefully it'll be okay. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that wrong one again for the next one for this bend, just so I can have them the same. It's unfortunate, but I don't think I've really stressed the metal too much here. If it becomes an issue, then I can add some support or something to it, but I think it'll be fine. So that's what I'm going to do on the next one. Alright, I got the second one finished. They're alright. This second one bent a little bit toward the wrong way when I was using the wrong radius. I need to remember this next time to use the right radius. But the right radius was a lot harder to bend. The thing I think I've learned the most from just doing this is I never want to bend tubing again. At least not with that bender. That bender's terrible. I need to mount it to something. It's just kind of sitting out there in the breeze right now. So, but we got this. So now we just have to lay out the rungs and lay out how the engine mounting and the axle mounting is going to go. So it's very important that the pillow blocks are exactly parallel, or well, actually concentric and co-radial. Well, concentric. And then we'll also need to make sure that they are on the right angle. So they need to be, you know, exactly perpendicular to the frame. Or at least all the wheels need to be pointing in the same direction, or else we're going to get weird wear and weird driving, and it's just not going to be fun. So I'm going to try my very best to make sure that that happens. But we're not really to the axle yet. Right now we just need to make sure the frame is as square as we can get it. So we'll start mocking this up and see what we can do. Alright. So these shouldn't fit in here. These are both 1 inch, but I wanted to see if they did. Actually, looks like might. Hang on. Oh, this would help if I didn't have an 8-foot piece here trying to put this into this. Looks like I might actually be able to get this in there. The reason I was looking at this and also dropping everything is I was thinking that I could bend 290s into this, make essentially a front bumper. I extend the frame out a little more as well, and maybe mount like pedals and stuff to that. I probably have to put the rack up there as well, but I've not really decided yet. I was just looking at it as an option for a couple of reasons, one of which being that it kind of give me a little bit of a jig to make sure to hold these parallel to each other. I have some magnets that I was thinking about using as well, some welding magnets, but I was going to need some sort of front bumper anyway, so I figured this might be an easy way to get that, but I didn't think these were going to fit, so I thought I was going to have to abandon this idea. As you can see, it looks like with the right application of force, these might actually fit into each other. There we go. All right. So these will fit, which is good. So I can make that bumper thing I was talking about. I want to keep enough length on this one that it will really guide these, and also so I can have some extension, because I already think this frame's gonna be a little short, and I have to figure out the way that I'm mounting the pillow blocks in the back, since I can't mount them to these frame rails because they're not straight, because I'm an idiot and the bins ended up making the tube wander a little bit on those ones I used the wrong radius for. Since I can't put them there, and even if they were straight, I could weld these, but I prefer not to, because they're both cast, and I've welded cast stuff before. It's not, a huge issue, but they already have slots for bolts, and I think that I'd like to have a little bit of adjustability there, just in case I don't perfectly line it up. And maybe eventually, when I know that I've got it lined up 100%, I can then weld it. But for the moment, I'd like to bolt them. And I could bolt through the square tubes, but I think it'd be difficult to cut any kind of slot. Well, I guess I wouldn't need a slot in those. I could just drill a hole, because it's already got a slot in the pillow blocks themselves. I don't know. Whatever the case, I was planning on mounting them to the plate that the engine's going to be mounted on, or something similar to that. But in order for that to work, that engine plate has to be mounted underneath the frame, because if it's not, then the pillow blocks end up having too much. Like the axle would interfere with that plate if it was mounted on top. What I may try and do is maybe find some long bolts and make some spacers on the lathe, and then I can mount the motor mount on top like I wanted to. But I don't know. I mean, I guess mounting the motor underneath would lower the center of gravity. I don't know. But one problem at a time. So this is the first problem, the bumper, and then welding that, and then welding the rungs, and then figuring out the engine plate, exactly how all that's going to work. Because I also got a plan for the chain. So anyway, let me get this bent, and we'll go from there. Oh man, I need one of those armature benders and a heavy table. Honestly, this one might not be that bad if it was on a heavy table welded to it. I was surprised to see it doesn't provide any ways to bolt it to something. So they expect you to use it this way. We're only at 32.8 degrees on the side over here. Jesus. Need a longer lever. Might get something like a cheater bar here in a second. This is me standing on it. That's why it's falling over. Only 33 degrees, are you kidding me? Okay. Yeah, let me get a longer bar here. New plan. We're just gonna square it up and weld the rungs. All right, a couple more mishaps, but we're not gonna talk about those. So, you go ahead and weld this up. I think that front bumper, even being fucked up how it is, what I'm gonna try and do is get this welded so it's square, and then from there, we'll try and force it in, and see if that works. All right, let me tack it on there. Fuck. Oh, shit. Let me get my fucking cutters. About as good as my welds normally look. Let's check how we did. Might be slightly off. Looks right about on the money. Call it. We're a little too close. Yep. I don't know what just fell over. I mean, I know you fell over. What did I set on fire? It smelled like a campfire. Doesn't look great, but it'll do. Now the next one. All right, let's check it again. We're way off. All right, right about there. All right, so I got 4 or 3 more welded on there. Or wait, I think I was halfway through the second one. I don't know. I got 4 bars on there, and I also got the engine plate here drilled for the engine and for the pillow blocks. I need to do a couple other things here, and there's still obviously a lot that I need to do with the frame, but I've got some sheet metal that I'm planning on overlaying on all this to make a flat surface, and that it's not very thick sheet metal though. I kind of wish it was a little bit thicker than it is, but anyway, we have some more tubing, and so we'll be putting some more of these in. I just wanted to fit things on it before we did that. And I think that's about all I've really done. I did fit a throttle cable to the engine just to try and make sure that everything was going to work. I had to change a couple of things on it. From the factory, this screw here is too tight to let the throttle return. That's, I think, by design. But so that's working, and I'm kind of figuring out exactly how I'm going to route the cables. I have a good idea of what I'm going to do with it now. I did find the caliper. I don't know if I mentioned this, but this little crappy caliper I bought, you know, they didn't even try and pretend it wasn't Chinese. It literally on the package said black Chinese rear caliper or something. I don't know. But so I think what I'm going to do with this, as far as making a rotor, is I got this piece here. I don't know exactly what this is. I think I got this from someone for free. I don't think I bought this. And it's got enough on there to make a rotor, and I think it's about the right diameter already. So I might clean the outside a little bit, but really don't need to take it down much. I'm still kind of determining how I'm going to fix that to the axle. I think I'm going to make it one piece. I don't really want to make something that bolts to the rotor. What I think I might do though is turn like a small like center nub to give it a little bit more length, so that it'll have a little bit more like key contact on the axle shaft. But we're not doing that just yet. There's still a couple of things that we have to figure out first. The one there that's crooked, it's there for aesthetic reasons. I did that on purpose.
So we managed to just barely get the frame done in this video. Emphasis on barely. It was it was a process. It was, you know, at the time I didn't really know exactly what I was going for, so I was just kind of, well, making it up as I go. And so because of that, it was sometimes problematic trying to choose a direction forward, because I didn't want to lock myself into something that I couldn't do. But it worked out. So in the next video, I think we'll be working on the axle on the Van Norman. And there was still some issues with the Van Norman. I've been working on it, and in one of my next videos I'm actually going to really dig into some of the problems on the machines that are still there, because I've, you know, continuously improving those. But we will be making the axle and maybe a couple other things in the next one. I have to see what footage I have. But anyway, thanks for sticking around. I know this is a long one, and I'll catch you guys later.